Episode of the Everblack Podcast is brought to you by Death Wish Hot Rods and Customs. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, brother. Good to see you again.
You too. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. What's happening?
Oh, just another day in paradise. Drinking some coffee. You can't really complain.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Although I do.
Hey, me too. My Mandalorian mug. Cool, man. Cool. Well, it's definitely awesome you could join us again, Aaron. What's been happening?
Nothing. I've been just doing album press, talking about music. I turned in the instrumental versions to our publisher. That's not true. I completed them and uploaded them. Haven't turned them in yet. Yeah, just music. That's kind of my whole my shtick.
I like your little what's that? Your studio den. What's that with all the?
Oh, this is the corner of my one-bedroom apartment. I'm in my living room.
Oh,
they're guitars and they're tour laminates from a lot of miles.
Do you keep stuff like that usually? I mean, do you try and keep as much as you can?
Yeah, because I have a hard time remembering.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember a lot of the experiences. I'm somebody that, takes a lot of, I like context clues with recalling things out of my memory. It helps. That, and it's just sentimental, and it looks cool when you do Zoom interviews,
Yeah, it does. Hey, there you go. Because you're looking back. Oh, that's awesome. Is there one in particular that you're quite fond of that sort of brings back some awesome memories?
This one right here, Linkin Park, All Access, the Hunting Party tour.
Hectic.
That tour changed my life, and not just because of the band, but because of literally all that I learned from that band. They were a band that went out of their way to treat us as good as absolutely possible, to help us with things like our business and getting us educated, and just the best, just the absolute best. That was such a great time. I look back on that very fondly.
Any band that I've ever spoken to that have shared the stage or toured with those guys have said that they were like that. They've always been really good dudes.
Just the best human beings, man, and just brilliant musicians. Like, not even talking about the fact that they were Linkin Park, the band that created Hybrid Theory or Meteora, but just literally as human beings. If they weren't Linkin Park of international rock stardom, anybody would be fortunate to know them just as people.
It's interesting that, I've heard some people say that the bigger the band gets or the bigger they are, the more humble that they tend to be and treat other bands because they've done the miles, they've done the work. You know what I mean? Have you found that to be pretty true?
Yeah, that's been my experience. It's been my experience that if you have the ability, and I call it a blessing, to be able to make people happy by either just being present or just giving them time, that you actually have to go out of your way, and it takes a lot more energy, and it's a place that I can't relate to at all, but it takes a lot to be a dick. It just, it does, If there are people that wait outside of your show and you can make their week by just talking to them, and it's very low effort on our parts, and you can make people happy, it's a blessing having that ability to be able to make people happy and not and have it really be nothing, other than just giving people a little bit of your time and attention. And I feel like you have to go out of your way to want to be a jerk. So I feel like the bigger your platform and the more happy that you can make people just by being there, just by talking to people, it's so rewarding. Like it's rewarding and it can be if you don't manage it, but it's not rewarding in an egotistical or self-aggrandizing way. It's rewarding just to see people happy. and it didn't take a lot. And I feel like that's like such a gift.
That was all Dio's philosophy too. Hey, like anywhere in the world, he did, no matter what it was, like Dio would take that time. And you don't know what that 2 seconds of hey, how you going affects people for the rest of their life. It might be that life-changing thing. They just need to tell you that one thing and connect with you because they've connected through a song that saves their life, And I know that's
Yeah,
a big responsibility for a lot, but
it's like being Santa, but you don't have to lug around all the presents and crawl down chimneys. You can make people happy with the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So being a dick to people requires way more than the bare minimum. And it's yeah, I don't know. That to me has always been one of the most rewarding parts about being a band that people care about, is just you could give people just a little bit of time, and you never do know. You literally never do know. And yeah, it's a huge blessing. It's a huge gift.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Well, of course, I mean, you've just released Echo, which is a collection of the 2 EPs, Bloom and Timeless, plus a single, Mosaic, and including, the title track. And hearing them all together like that is really cool, dude. Like, did you always have that plan to put them together, or did that come sort of later as the creativity sort of went on?
Around the first release of the first EP, and I started talking about it with people, I said from the get-go, trilogy of EPs. The funny thing about that is we hadn't completed the second one, and nothing that's on the third one was even a thought at that point. But we knew that we wanted to create an album's worth of material over a specific length of time, be it a year or a year and a half or 6 months, whatever that may be. At the time, we didn't have any sort of definitive plans, but we knew that we wanted to release songs every few weeks, and we wanted to release stuff chronologically as we created it, as a way of sharing in utmost honesty our kind of lived experiences and the things that we're expressing in our music, and sharing them while it's still sort of relevant to us and while we're still kind of living in those moments. A lot of the moments, a lot of the pain or triumphs or anything that inspires art, there's something really special about sharing what you've created in and from those moments while you're still living those moments,
Yeah.
Versus, creating an album's worth of material and then spending a few months recording it and spending a few more months getting the artwork, music videos, everything down so then you can promote it and then put it out. And it might come out a year after you started writing about it, and you might be a year disconnected from, or a year moved on from, or a year healed from whatever you're trying to share, and sort of have those, really deep connective moments with people that listen to your music. And for us, it was really important this go around to kind of see what it would be like to catch up with the way that people listen to music, which is digitally through DSPs. A lot of times people listen to one thing at a time because everyone has so much going on now. And we just wanted to be able to share that with our fans, and share sort of real life moments as they're happening to us, and things that we can express, and things that relate to us and can relate to other people, because ultimately music is how we communicate with people.
After the last year or so, does it feel like through all that signifies maybe an end or a new beginning for you? You put so much into that creatively.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that sort of leave you now that you've put that out, and are you onto something new now?
Oh, already. Oh, 100%. Before anybody even heard a first single from this last EP, it's we're always working on stuff, and we're always creating together, because that to us is not just a safe space for us to sort of know that we've got that, like no matter how crazy the world gets, we can get together in Zoom and make an album. It's nice. It's not a nice feeling to know that you have to jump in your life raft, but it's nice to know that you can, and that it won't sink immediately. I think I can speak for all of us. We feel it's very reinvigorating in a lot of ways to have done that. And it almost makes the release of it feel more like a season finale than the
Yeah.
end of the show or than the release of the series, you know. It feels more like we got to sort of release episodes of a television show weekly. For us, we released a new song every 3 to 4 weeks for basically the whole year. Maybe 4 to 6, I guess, depending on the calendar month. But, you know, it was we felt like if anything, our hope would be that it could give our fans something to look forward to during a time period where there frankly wasn't a lot to look forward to other than maybe more restrictions and more bad news. It felt that way for a long time where it just felt like, oh, well, the only new thing that's going to happen is something worse. And for us, we felt like if anything, as a byproduct, it could give our fans something to look forward to. And most importantly, it gave us something to look forward to in a time period where it didn't look like live music was ever going to come back, or, you know, in a world where for us, we've spent 10 years doing the same thing the same way, touring 200 plus days out of the year, and then all of a sudden everything changes. Music is the one thing we know that we can go back to and use that as sort of a conduit to try and make sense of whatever's going on externally in the world, but also internally in ourselves.
How does touring and stuff look for you guys moving forward over there? I know a lot of things are opening up, and we're like a few steps behind here. So, there's are there full restrictions that are holding a lot of bands back?
I feel like in the US, things are opening up and people are touring that I see. We don't have anything on the books for the US. Our first touring back on the books is in Europe next summer. And I've learned that you can plan for the next 10 years, but you can't plan for the next 10 minutes. So who knows? I'd love to think that everything will eventually go back to some sort of normalcy, and at least for us in the meantime, you know, we're just staying busy creating. You know, if we can't express ourselves and connect with our fans in the live environment, then we'll stay in the studio writing songs and, you know, connecting via Twitch. Most of this album was created and we live streamed the creation process, and people got to be there and kind of hang out and see how tedious and unglamorous it really is to sit and work on a record. All right, do it again. All right, do it again. Oh, nope. All right, do it again. But yeah, I mean, for us, music is all about connecting. It's about connecting with other people. It's about connecting other people to other people. And just sharing in how awesome it is that we as a species make sound. And it's just a cacophony of sounds that makes you feel something. It's the closest thing to magic that I know, you know?
100%. You know what? I was talking to someone about this the other day. I was like, man, with all this shit going on in the world, we don't, you know, same thing. Don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. But here we are. We're in a room just making sound, and nothing makes me more happy than, you know, screaming my ass off.
100%. And it stirs something deep inside you. It's not that it doesn't like titillate your thinking mind. You know what I mean? Music is a very primal thing. People have been making music for literally thousands of years as a way of expressing themselves. And it's cool to just be even just the smallest little thread in the tapestry that is all of the music that people have made throughout time, you know? And I feel like a lot of this record is about that. It's about sort of thinking about time and how you not only relate to your own mortality, but how you really relate to people, not just in your community or people that are interested in the same things, but how you actually relate to people in history and people that you've never met. And, you know, you've probably had a lot of the same exact highlights and low points and struggles and fears as your great-great-grandparents did. And it's the more you kind of think about your own existence in terms of that, the less or for me personally, the less the existential crisis feels insurmountable, and it more is just sort of an existential reckoning. You know, this idea that I exist here and now, and I can create some sound and some, you know, rhythms and create something that didn't exist 30 minutes ago. And I think that's just one of the coolest aspects about being conscious and being a living human being.
Is that where the title comes from? Echo?
Yeah, definitely. It's the idea that our sort of human experience, while it's always changing because of things like technology and advancements and civilization and society and things like that, but how the best parts and the worst parts about being a human being are very, very deeply intertwined. The most beautiful moments and the most tragic moments that anybody will experience in their lives are heavily intertwined. I think one of the hardest things that can happen is you lose family members when family members pass away. And one of the most beautiful things that happens is the love that you share with those family members, and how those things are inextricably linked, and how human beings have been feeling that way since human beings have been a thing, you know, and just sort of putting your own existence in context of that. I feel more connected to the people around me and to my family, and I feel more connected to my relatives and people in the past that I've never met. And it's all just through sort of exploring those existential topics in the form of music.
Dude, you have no idea what you just said. It has resonated with me so much over the last bit. That sums up me for the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has had those moments in some way or another, and it's not an easy thing to talk about or sit and think about, you know. But it's sort of like it's like spring cleaning, you know. It's not fun. It's not easy. But it's beneficial, you know. And I think it's a good thing. And I feel like, if anything, society and technology and just how humans have managed to complicate our own existence and lives, it really just gets in the way of sort of having those quiet moments to yourself when you think about, like, well, what's the purpose of all of it? Well, I don't know, but I know that we were given this insane gift of consciousness and the ability to create something that didn't exist before. I'm just going to spend my time doing that until I go off into the cosmos or wherever you go, you know? So it's for me, a good way of sort of dealing with anxiety and things like that is just to sort of relate, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, my mind's actually really blown right now.
I love it every time I get to talk about it, because it almost doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's crazy, dude. I like literally. I'll probably edit this out. I lost my grandmother last week, and no, that's cool. But literally everything you just said has resonated and sums up everything I've been through over the last couple of weeks, which is insane. I know I'm not alone there. Like, you just saying that absolutely confirms that with me. And
yeah,
you know, here we are, man. Like, that's exactly how I was feeling. I'm sitting here and I'm going, you know, I'm just this, you know, bag of flesh and whatever on this earth, and trying to we're all trying to work our way through. We might as well make the best of it and connect with other people and connect with who we are. And
absolutely. And if you can create something, to me, I've never felt like I've ever written anything. I've always felt like it's just something that I close my eyes and I hear it, and I don't know where any of the stuff I hear in my head comes from. But sometimes I feel more like an antenna than I feel like a sculptor, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I went back and I read through, I was reading Michelangelo, the sculptor, you know, and the artist. And he writes letters to his dad. And I always talk to my dad about art and stuff. And all of the stuff Michelangelo said in 1300 is stuff that I feel. And it's like, it's just mind blowing how you can sort of strip back all of the complicatedness that human beings have added to our existential dilemma, and you can really connect through art and through music, and it's such a huge blessing. And it's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
No, that's all right, man. Oh, we've that did go. Yeah.
It didn't. You know what? That's the beauty of it, is we could spend hours talking.
I know. Hey man, that was a really cool rap. I like that. But Aaron, yeah, thank you very much for hanging out, dude. And of course,
Thank
we'll
you
have
so
the
much.
links down here for echoes. Let's do this again very soon.
I would
Well,
love that.
Merry Christmas and
Hey,
have a good New Year,
you
brother.
take care. You have a good one. All right.
You too, bro. See you,
All right,
man.
cheers.
Bye.